Float Targ, our friends. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for another Orc Mode workout, and today was max effort lower day. But a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click like down below. It'd be greatly appreciated. I've realized my quads are just going to need a hell of a lot more work. I realized that this weekend as I was looking over some of my squat footage, and I've realized during my cutting, particularly now that I'm not doing some of that volume squatting, back when I hit like the 605 and I've lost weight, I feel like my quads have regressed a little bit. I'm going to have to push them a lot harder. Because now that I'm doing a lot of these deeper squats, I'm seeing it, I'm feeling it, and I'm seeing it in the movement pattern. And we get these side views, this tells us a lot. So I'm going to do a lot of these squats from the side. This was a good training max today. This was fairly heavy. We started to see a little bit of grind. Keeping in mind, even though this is a 12-inch box, this is a different stance. This box might be parallel with a really wide stance, but it's very much below parallel for me with this medium stance I'm doing, which again, I feel stronger in and more powerful in, so I'm going to stick with it. But because it's so much deeper, I'm feeling that quad, definitely feeling that I need more quads. And my glutes are kind of up to speed at this point. But that was grindy enough, and if you guys watched the movement pattern, you could tell I was compensating a little bit. Okay, compensating a little. My back is actually probably stronger than my quads, not my back, but my hip extensors. Because when I look at my good mornings, I mean, I've hit very, very strong good mornings. I'm at that point where my good mornings, like I've done 555, I could probably come in and hit that right now with that bar. You know, relative to what I'm box squatting at the moment off the deeper boxes, sign that my quads need more work. So I'm going to start doing two quad exercises. Because again, I don't have the thickness there, I think, that I had when I was doing all the extra quad work. Some of the supplemental squatting, again, the, whatever we call them, the belt squats. But I can bring all that back off muscle memory. Just need to hit it from a couple angles really hard. Same thing, I did a moderately heavy single on the deadlift. It was slow enough. I'm like, that's above 90%. We're going to call it a training max. I don't want to risk missing lifts right now when I'm cutting. So that ended up only being 535 plus 48 chains. You know, and I did the other day, I did 575 off of a 1-inch deficit. So we're in that same strength range. These felt really heavy today. I bumped the weight to 455. And the straps, these straps actually did really good the first two sets. And then, but then I felt so much strain, and I felt my adductors and stuff really lighting up. I'm like, man, these are tough. The rectus femoris on my quads were crushed. My adductors were crushed. And so I'm like, let me just drop down to 405 and try to rep it out and get a little deeper if I can. And I only got to 7, and then these straps started failing. I'm like, you know what? I'm done with these straps. They did really good. I thought I had them perfect the first two sets. I locked them in. They were good. But I just realized this is getting really heavy for me for Romanians. And then when I tried to do the more reps, they started slipping on me and I had to rack it. But the thing is, in spite of the strap, I pretty much overtaxed one of my adductors. And I didn't realize it till I started doing my Bulgarian split squats coming up, which I bumped the weight on 5 pounds, right? I started doing those and realized, man, I strained an adductor. It hurt. It started cramping on me for the entire third set on my right thigh, again, my slightly stronger thigh. I feel like the left quad's a little weaker. So even in spite of that, my adductors got overworked. They got overworked. That goes to show you how hard this hits it. Because I felt a little bit in there. I'm like, it got a really good pump. But I didn't think anything of it. It didn't feel fatigued. But then I got a minor pull, and I've trained through it. I just was very careful in my lifts. I couldn't do good mornings. I couldn't do glute ham raises. I just started messing with the good morning to see how it felt with just the empty bar. I'm like, no, this isn't going to work. But we'll get to that in a minute. The step-ups were fine, and I was worried they wouldn't be. I know it was discomforting in there, but there was no sharp pain. Because, again, we're not stretching. It's putting that stretch on it. But, you know, these went fairly good. I managed to do these today without losing my balance. Got all of my target reps and sets, right, with the 5 extra pounds. And I'm doing 6s on these because I'm trying to just work on heavy tension. I'm going to work on a little more volume on the step-ups. Now, people will look at that and say, those are such a similar movement. Why are you doing them? Why do we do pull-ups and chin-ups both? Why would you do a flat bench and an incline bench? They're different. Well, let's get over and talk about the split squats. These felt really good today. But again, I noticed I felt a lot of adductor. And again, I didn't think anything of it. It felt like it was getting a really good pump. It was getting a really good pump. But I do need my adductors to grow, so not a big deal. It's just that now I feel like my glutes, because of all the work I'm doing, my glutes get worked on every lower body lift I do. My glutes are stupidly strong. I don't need the glute bridges at this point. I was about to go up in weight again. I was about to bump them to 585 for work sets. I don't need them. Besides, even the reverse hypers hit my glutes. All these exercises hit the glutes. Every single exercise that I'm doing today hits the glutes hard. They all hit them hard. So we need adductors and we need quads. Of course, we need hamstrings and back and all that too. But my hamstrings are strong too. I'm not going to neglect them. We're still going to do RDLs. We're going to do good mornings. I'll occasionally do some glute ham raises. But I got into these, and everything felt great on the left leg. When I switched to the right, on the first rep, I felt that adductor cramp. It cramped. So you see me maybe stopping and pausing a little bit for a second because I'm like, can I keep going? Is it torn? Is it just cramping? But it definitely got pulled. And I finished the set, but it was hurting bad. I had to take about 20 minutes. Think, okay, what can I do? Put a massager on it. I couldn't do the good mornings. But I went to mess with the step-ups with just body weight. I'm like, okay, I feel tension in there. And it's working it, but it's not stretching it like the good morning would. I can get away with these. And I felt it on every rep, but it wasn't a sharp pain. So it's like, good, I can do these. And it's interesting because these, in theory, a high step up like this is supposed to hit the adductor harder than a Bulgarian split squat, right? If we go purely off EMG data, which again, it's not always true, is it? Because they're both good exercises. Both of these exercises hit the quads, the glutes, and the adductors. Now, we're getting a different angle of tension here, right? We're getting a different angle of tension. The range of motion is slightly different, okay? These are a different exercise. They're fairly similar, but here's the thing. If you got a weak link that you want to bring up, in this case, I want to bring my quads back up. And I know I'm cutting, and people say, well, can you do that? Well, there's a lot of factors involved in my cutting. And there's some muscle memory there. If my quads have regressed a little bit, getting them back not going to be too hard. They're still big. I don't think they're as big as they were. I don't think they're as strong as they were. So I can push progress hard on these two lifts. Here's the benefit. They both hit glutes and adductors really hard too. Well, these are the three lifts we need for squatting. What do we need for my deadlifting? Well, my deadlifting isn't even limited by posterior chain anymore. Honestly, I think it's all back. I think my pull-ups and chin-ups and all of that are going to do more for my deadlift at this point than my lower body work. Because we go back and look, and I'm stronger on a lot of my lower body lifts than when I was pulling well over 600. When I pulled that first 615 conventional that I did, I am stronger now on some of my lower body lifts. I was better at pull-ups, better at chin-ups, all that stuff, than I am now. So I'm going to keep hammering those. I know they carry over for me. Right? I was doing a lot of middle back volume. And I think for me that matters. People say, well, why? Because I have a longer torso. Okay? I have, for my height, my torso and arms are longer than average. My legs are slightly shorter than average. That's why it balances out for my height. Right? I have short femurs. That's why I'm good at squatting. I have to have more back because I have a longer torso. There's more back leverage involved. I just need more back in general to get my pull back up where it needs to be. And it doesn't need to be that high to be competitive for what I'm planning. So I'm not going to get into exactly. It shouldn't be hard for people to speculate what sort of weight classes I'm planning on doing. Start looking through national records and things for different beds. So it shouldn't be hard for you guys to figure out. No, I don't need to pull 700 pounds. Not necessary. I'll try. It's not required for me to knock down national records. There are feds where it's not required for me to break world records for those feds. I have to be anywhere near that. So, need to get the backup for that. So in the meantime, I need to push my squat back up. And we're going to need quads to do that. I need more quad, more adductor. Now, again, with these, definitely felt that adductor, but it wasn't sharp pain. It was just a burn. So we're good. And while I'm sitting down right now, it feels fine. I'm just going to have to get blood flow to it, get massage to it. I'm not going to train legs again until Thursday, which will be speed work. It'll be fine. I'll recover between now and then. Just not going to use it for anything, right? Not really going to be used on my upper body day tomorrow. So it'll be good to go. But yeah, what I'm going to do with these I started a little light. I left reps in the tank because basically I'm just like getting bored of doing them. But I still got a good burn. It's just reintroducing the movement. All right, I'll add weight. And bring it up with progressive overload. And as a second exercise being done, that'll work just fine. Especially given some muscle memory there. And then we'll get it up to where we're getting into serious effective reps. We'll be getting close to failure. Right? At least for the weaker leg. That's the plan. So I think I'm going to do these definitely on ME day. Maybe on DE day I'll do both. Depends on how my quads feel. They get more work. But yeah, I'm working on bringing the quads back up. I'm going to need them to squat. And I need to just maximize body composition in general. So really what we're seeing right now for lower body, what do I really need? More quad and adductor. Upper body, I need really my whole middle back for deadlifting. More delt, more tricep. Those are going to be high priorities for me. And whatever it takes to build them, supplemental work to build all that. So basically triceps, quads, adductors, probably like lats, mid-traps, are going to be my highest priorities. But we want everything to be stimulated. Those are just going to get a slightly higher priority. And then, of course, I finished off with my reverse hypers. I was worried I was not going to be able to do these. But when I went to warm up with it, because I normally don't, but I'm like, let me just test it out with a couple plates on per side before I load 500 pounds onto it. And it was uncomfortable bending down to put the plates on, but not uncomfortable doing the lift. So right now it's a stretch position doing it. So basically I pulled it doing the RDL, and then it came out during the split squats because it only hurts when I go into a stretch with it. That's why I couldn't do the good mornings. But this also shows us that the adductors don't get used on the reverse hyper. Okay, they're not being used at all because I didn't feel it one bit. It's all spinal erector, glute, hamstring, right? All this lift really hits them very, very well. It hits them in a unique way. But again, just noticing when you pull something like that, you can kind of tell what muscles stretch and hit it hardest. And if it's hitting it, it's definitely not any sort of stretch. But again, we needed the extra low back. We needed something to make sure the hamstrings got a little more work, right? We need to get the hamstrings a little bit more work. Because all they really got today was a heavy deadlift, and then they got 3 sets of RDLs. That's a little on the low side. This at least gives them 6 good work sets because I had to skip the good mornings. And so I'm glad I was able to do these because I knew I wouldn't be able to do glute ham raises because that would have been my other option too. Would have been, well, I can get more hamstring work by doing glute ham raises than doing these. But I already know from where I feel it that I'm not going to be able to do those today. So, we made it work. So I only got shorted 1 lift, and that was the good mornings. And, because I did RDLs, we can live without it for today. We don't want to skip it long term. It's pretty much a key lift for me, but I've gotten so good at it, I think, at this point, I don't think it's carrying over anymore to my squatting because it's not addressing my weakest links, right? It's not addressing my weakest links. I feel like at this point, I've finally reached a point again where my quads are actually limiting my squat. So we'll work on them and fix them. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.